Hello, I'm Seth Johnson with Land the House. So recently I was pricing crates for small dogs and realized that if you want it to look pretty, it's going to be expensive. When I say expensive, I mean $160 to $300, maybe even more. So I went to Lowe's and thought, I can make my own for less than that. So let me show you the stuff that I've got, and we'll get started building this small dog crate. So I spent roughly $50. Got some screws, 1 1/8 inch. Got 8 L brackets. These are 2.5 by 5/8. These we may not use, but they're just some flat metal plates with screws. Got a latch for the door and a couple hinges. This was 10 foot of it's 2 foot by 10 foot, and it's just this small square hardware cloth. I got two 12 foot long 1x3s, and then I got these just out of my shop here. So to get this, you'd probably have to spend another $8 to $9 maybe. This will be the top. So anyway, let's get started. I apologize for the sound of the rain on the metal roof, but nothing I can do about that. So the first step here is to take a tape measure and speed square. Every 2 feet I'm going to cut, because that's going to be how tall this dog crate is. So mark this out, and just going to use a circular saw here and use my speed square as the guide. Alright, now I have 8 2-foot boards made from those 12-foot boards, and these will be our corner pieces. And I realize that my vise here is the perfect size to hold these together. So I'm just going to clamp these in here. Now sadly, I realized that my screws that I purchased are not long enough, but my dad's pulled through with this bucket of screws here. So what I'm going to do now is come to the edge here, and I'm just going to put some pilot holes in with my drill. Now I'm just going to take a screw and put it into each of the holes that we have pre-drilled, and this will hold these pieces together for now. Okay, very nice. All 4 legs are done, so I just put 4 screws on each one. It's very strong. So now at Target I found this little puppy pad. It's supposed to be for feeding, but it's 14 3/4 by 23 3/4. So basically 15 by 24. So that's what I'm going to be using as the bottom of this crate, so as to catch any food or poop or whatever happens in here. So I'm going to be using this as my size to build this thing. So I'll probably do this 24 by 15 to give a little bit of extra room to move around in here. Well, looking back at my dimensions here, I believe I'm going to make this next cut a 16 inch, and then on the side here it's going to be 25.5. So that's our next cuts. So the dog that I am building this for is tiny. It's a teacup Maltese, so all these steps are overkill for this little dog, but for yours you may need to beef up this design or just alter it a little bit. So for the next cuts, I'm going to be ripping these in half You may want to use a whole board if your dog is bigger, so this step may not be necessary for you. We now have 4 leg pieces, and then 4 25.5 inch and 4 16 inch. Now I just realized I should have added this much width to the length of these to butt up the corners like that, because right now they're going to come together like this. It's still going to work just fine though. Might be a change that you want to make. Just as we did before, I'm going to do some pilot holes here to get this board attached to the leg. So just going to do a couple here. Okay, then just going to put a couple screws in. Because these screws are a little long, I'm not pushing them in there as far as they could go, so as not to poke through the backside. Getting the last ones here on the bottom or the top. Right now they're both the same. A little off there, not too bad. Alright, so this will be repeated on the top up here. So it's basically going to make a box that is closed in. Then we'll put the top on after that. Okay, managed to get all the side pieces screwed onto the legs. It's very sturdy, I like it. So now it's time to put the top on here. And let's see what we got. 27 inches by 17.5. So I want the tabletop to extend past this a little bit. So it's just going to be using these boards here, but just extend, I don't know, maybe 2 inches on each side. So this thing, of course, it's going to be a dog crate, but it's a table as well. So let's cut this down and then attach it. So 17.5 is the width of our box. So I want to cut this board to 21.5 to give me 2 inches on each side of our crate. So mark that, flip my square over here, finish the line. So now I just use circular saw to cut this. Just got all of these boards cut, so you can kind of get an idea of what the top will look like here whenever it's put on. So basically just makes a big tabletop. So next, going to attach these just like we did with those side boards. So let's do it. Now it's time to attach the top. So what I'm going to do is use my tape measure here and see if I can get 2 inches on each side. And let's see, kind of this to here. Nice, okay. And then I'm just going to put some screws in to hold this in place. Be nice to have one of those easy disconnects for swapping back and forth between this drill bit and this driver, but I don't have one. Okay. Very nice. Probably push these down a little bit more to get flat there. Nice. So now I'm just going to put in a couple more to hold this in place. Wanted to show you here that got the box basically done. So here's the top. You can just see I've put screws in there. So now it's time for us to build the door. So let's take some measurements here. Up here we got, let's see, 21.5 by 18.5, a little bit less than a half. So let's start building our door. Well, it's been about a week since I've worked on this, getting the door done. So what I've done is cut some small strips and some larger strips, and I'm attaching these onto here, and I'll show you how this fits into the door here in just a second. We get these screwed in. Made a mistake on the first one and tried to use a drill and just busted right through this piece of wood. Now for the hinges. They've got these tiny screws, so I need to put a couple of pilot holes in here. So I'm just going to match this up with the edge, nice and level, and then just okay. I'm going to do that to both of these here. So I'm going to make sure that my hinge is on the correct direction, and then I'm just going to screw this in by hand so I don't break through the wood again. Now I'm going to install this bolt, or latch I suppose is what it is. So I'm going to put it here, and then I think I'll put some more pilot holes in there. Let's do it this way this time though. Line it up on the edge. Okay. Now we can see where to put these holes. Okay. Now, I am putting all these in by hand because I definitely don't want to snap the wood here at this point. I know I've already said that, but it's no fun to have to start over again. Now it's time to put the screen on. So I'm going to measure out here. This is 18 by 20 1/4. So I'm going to put screen on here at maybe 17 inch, and let's do 20. 17 by 20. Okay, so I got this wire here. Let's see if we can find a good spot to cut for 17 by 20. Of course, it's all rolled, so just take a while to get it bent out where it needs to be here. So let's see. Let's go 20 this way. Nice. Yeah, it will come out pretty good on this square. So let's see. This one. pop that out. Okay, and then so for our other direction, needs to go 17 here. Yeah, not quite. So I'm gonna do 17 1/4 here. There. Alright, I'm gonna cut that out real quick. So I got the wire cut to the correct square here. Now I'm using these flat plates that we made, or that we purchased, and I just pre-drilled a couple of holes in there. So now hopefully when this thing is pulled tight, I'll be able to cinch it down here. Now I may have to come back later and put one on the top up here, but for now, just see how well this holds. Well, I'm running out of time on this project, so I did some steps without you here. I took my metal mesh and cut it to the correct size for the cage here, or the crate. Then I use these L brackets and just screwed those in to hold this onto the frame. I'm going to come back and put a piece of holding strip here on both the top and the bottom to prevent any sharp edges from ever showing. Okay, so now I've got the door installed, hinges here, and this latch here. So, opens very nicely. A little tight here to close. May have to adjust that some, but it does close. Now, like I said, up under here, I put a couple of boards to hide the wire. It also gave a nice stop for the door to rest on. To finish up the bottom, I cut my hardware mesh to the right size, removed the corners down here. Then I took pieces of wood and sandwiched that metal into the frame, and it really holds it in there well. Here is the pre-painted finished product. Have our latch here on the front and put that little mat inside. So for 50 bucks, it's not bad. I like it. May do a few adjustments over time. I'm also going to put a little gate or a fence here on the front. Probably a 2 foot by 2 foot, just playpen area. It can be removed, but I'll get to that later. Well, we just finished the dog crate. Cost about $50 to make. We're really excited about getting our new puppy. Now we just have to think of a name. I'm Seth Johnson with Land to House. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.